Hey there, budding arbitrator. I'm Mr. E. Do you want to respond to heretics loitering about the city streets of our fine tertium with reasonable force? No? Do you want to respond to it with all of the reasonable force of a Lex-powered bulldozer? Yes. Well, then I have the build for you. This is the Adamant, a frontline bruiser who ignores all enemy damage while simply walking through their formations in order to bludgeon every enemy in sight. We accomplish this by using Castigator's stance, as well as execution order that allows our dog to not only be our best companion, but our enemy's greatest foe. Before we get into this build, let me remind you that I have a ton of other builds coming your way this week and beyond, so go ahead and subscribe to the channel and like the video, and I really hope you enjoy this one. Alright, starting out at the top of the list here with the melee weapon of choice. We have two different melee weapons. Honestly, this build can work with lots of weapons, but I love these two for their sheer power and simplicity. Just rolling over enemies with lots and lots of base damage. We have the Shock Maul and Suppression Shield. Or you can use the Arbites Shock Maul. I'll leave the choice up to you. They play a little bit differently, I think for thematic reasons. If you want to play the full tank sort of lore here and just really feel that role, go with the Suppression Shield. It's an excellent weapon. It'll clobber you through all of the difficulties all the way up into Havoc. It's only when you start to get into mid-high Havoc that you'll start to see its damage fall off in comparison to the Shock Maul. But for today, let's focus on this Suppression Shield. The Suppression Shield has a very nice blessing in the form of high voltage. It's very easy to electrocute enemies with this. Just sweep them with a heavy attack, and then all follow-up attacks will deal extra damage. Lightning Reflexes is a great secondary blessing here. It allows you to use a time block to stun the attacker. This can allow you to open up shields on incoming bulwarks or stop incoming ragers. It can even shock back demon hosts that are swinging at you. It is just a really cool blessing that can open up a lot of opportunities. Not that we were going to take damage anyway, but this also gives you a huge boost in your melee damage to follow it up. It really encourages you to nail those time blocks, which is a lot of fun to play around. Speaking of a lot of fun, we have the Spearhead Bolt Gun. It's back, baby. It's on the Arbites. It's not just a zealot weapon anymore, and this thing dumps damage into bosses, especially when paired with Cavalcade and Pinning Fire. These two together with some of the Arbites talent tree blessings are going to make this thing crit like a monster, and it demolishes bosses. Since we won't have the best boss damage in the world with this build, this is a great way to level that out and contribute boss damage where we can. We are most of the time just a frontline tank who is going to tank the boss while not taking any damage ourselves. For Curios, we have 2 toughness and 1 stamina. Make certain your max stamina isn't like mine, and make certain it's over 400 rating, because 400 ratings don't actually give them a +3 max stamina. But this is all I got right now, right? We're on the live build. This is the best I could do in 1 day's notice. For perks down here, we want all 3 to have combat ability regeneration, all 3 to have stamina regeneration, and then I prefer to make 2 of them gunner damage resistance, because that gives us sort of the maximal amount that we can get without diminishing returns. You'll get 37% gunner damage resistance off of this, which is very helpful because those are about the only enemies that can do enough damage to hurt us in any significant way. And then revive speed is another really great perk you could run in the last slot, but really anything that you prefer. I would recommend against sprint speed because we're not going to be doing a whole lot of sprinting due to the fact we're going to be walking around menacingly. And let's swap over and talk about the talent tree. Over here on the right, we've got Hammer of Judgment, so we can sweep our shield and get extra attack speed. Force of Will and Up Close, so we can bludgeon enemies and get a ton of toughness back from these two, and then Walk It Off. Walk It Off is going to give us 5% of our toughness back every second for 3 seconds, anytime you spend 1 stamina, which is pretty easy to do, considering Shield Bashing spends stamina. So just spend a little bit of stamina and do your follow-up attack, and you'll be regenerating toughness as well. You can also get this by sprinting, wouldn't you know it, so pretty easy to do. We're using Remote Detonation here. Remote Detonation allows our dog to detonate this charge around himself. So simply wait a second for him to get into location and not bounce 50 feet away, and then detonate it at the appropriate time. And you can see it applies a very strong damage over time effects to lots of these enemies, and it is a really strong tool for staggering back bosses. It's the only thing that we have that can really mess with bosses' positioning, and it's great to get out of a pinch. Just make certain your dog is in the right position before you detonate it. It also has a 60-second cooldown instead of using charges, so we can leave those grenades to the rest of the team. Over here on the left, we have the Voltaic Mandibles Augment. This makes our dog CC enemies. So as you can see here, this enemy is now shocked and will remain shocked until the next time the dog attacks him. So he'll never get to attack again until he is dead. Voltaic Mandibles also increases the damage the dog does. It doubles his DPS, more or less. Just that single augment. It's a crazy good augment, and it only scales more once we increase his damage with Execution Order. We also have Canine Morale. Once the dog kills a pounce target, you are going to gain 20% toughness damage reduction and gain back a little bit of toughness over time, making us really, really freaking hard to kill. We can also gain 25% damage resistance for elite or specialist kill. Oftentimes, if the dog goes and pounces an elite or specialist, we'll have both of these triggered at the same time for a huge, huge damage reduction. Over here on the right, melee weak spots are going to make the enemy count as staggered for 4 seconds. This is great because we're pairing this with Breaking Descent, where we can magnify all the damage this enemy takes by 10% after we nail them with this, and that's even outside of all the other buffs that you can get on your team for staggering enemies. We also take Suppression Protocols. This is going to give us toughest damage reduction when we're sweeping through a crowd, right? So when we're sweeping through a crowd and our dog is killing these pounce targets, we are going to have crazy, crazy toughness damage reduction. And that's all to tide us over between the periods of time where we will be purely invincible. I'm taking the Keystone Go Get 'em here because one of the more annoying types of enemies for us is scattered small gunners. This will make the dog prioritize those targets and go and seek them out and remove them from their hiding places with impunity. And we have Castigator Stance here, without or sans any additions. We purely want Castigator Stance for this ridiculous movement speed penalty, as well as that reduction in damage taken. This allows us to move around while we're doing things such as blocking. We can advance on enemies while just doing this. We probably don't even need to because we can just walk forward them like this. We can also refire the bolter. We can fire the bolter while zoomed in. All these things become possible with Castigator Stance. The only downside of the Castigator Stance is it does have kind of a long cooldown of 45 seconds. That's why we took that additional cooldown reduction in all those Curios, and we have something at the bottom of the tree that's going to help with us with that as well. Moving on, we have Arbites Revelatum. This is extra damage when you dodge, pretty nice. Justified Measures, which is 15% damage. This is going to be stacked up by our dog. So as you can see here, if I set the dog to attack this target, if you look underneath my hexagon there, it just popped up and now it's at 5 stacks because the electrocution effects also stack this up. So just by having the dog in existence, you are getting 15% damage all the time. Street Smarts allows us to get effective dodges and dodge duration, and that's followed by Monstrosity Hunter, which boosts our damage to Ogrins and Monstrosities, 2 of the toughest enemies to kill, and so it's always great to have a little bit extra damage boosted into them. Over here on the right, we got Hold the Line. This is going to give us even more damage resistance as long as we can stagger enemies. Thankfully, this is also stacked by our dogs. So you can see here, that other buff that pops up at 5 stacks instantly is a 15% damage resistance against the next melee attack we hit, courtesy of Hold the Line. And then down here we have Target the Weak. We're going to stagger enemies with our melee attack and follow up with more melee attacks for extra damage. We're also going to make certain that first hit definitely staggers using Emperor's Fist with melee damage and melee impact on the first target hit. And then Weighted Lex is going to give us 15% extra damage for 5 seconds after we heavy melee attack. So you should be really opening every engagement with this heavy sweep. That heavy sweep also always shocks enemies, so we have plenty of damage to follow up on from there, and we do sizable damage even into those armored targets. We are putting Unyielding and Carapace typing on both of our weapons for the perks, because those are the enemies that don't die in like 1 or 2 hits. You're going to see this over and over again with Arbites builds, but many enemies just cave to the sheer power of the Arbites, but these 2 types of enemies tend to last a few extra hits, so we'll type against them. And then we're going to come over here on the left and finish out the bottom of the tree with Zealous Dedication. This is an additional 16% crit chance. It lasts 10 seconds. It is an absurdly good buff. It takes the Arbites base crit chance up to 23.5%. But wait, that's not all. It's coming back. It's getting even higher in a second. Soul Guilt Scan is going to give us extra weak spot strength, which scales our overall damage by 1.16% after everything else is considered when you hit the head, which should be pretty easy to do considering some of the swing patterns on this weapon. Then we have Execution Order, rounding it off here. Execution Order marks the enemies. So what you'll see here is when I do this and get pounced by a dog I couldn't hear, but you can see the enemies are starting to be marked here, right? Let me go ahead and just Arbites my way out of here. You can see the enemies are starting to be marked. All those marked enemies there, those are the enemies that are going to give us this buff. And those enemies are going to be primed to take extra damage from the dog. I can turn it off now. they're going to take extra damage from the dog. They're going to replenish our toughness and give us extra damage and toughness when we kill them. So these enemies are also highlighted throughout the rest of the mission, so you will always know where they are on the map. And it only highlights elites and specialist enemies, so it's a really, really great tool for knowing where those sneaky trappers have run off to. One of the best, if not the best, keystone on the class. Then we have Mallocator. Every time we kill one of these highlighted enemies, we are going to get 8 seconds of plus 50% cooldown regeneration. So if you keep this thing ticking near constantly, instead of having a 45-second base cooldown, you end up with a 30-second base cooldown. That's reduced further by our cooldown Curios as well. So that's a very, very powerful thing to go with Castigator stance. And then finally, Efficient Killer, that's going to give us 10% crit chance and 25% crit damage every time we kill a marked target, which also lasts 8 seconds. And both of these can be triggered by the dog killing a marked target, which he does very quickly, thanks to Execution Order giving an additional 150% damage to the dog damage once he is attacking a marked target. So he finishes these guys off really, really quick, and he's going to be your best friend throughout this game. So that's the whole thing, guys. I hope this looks like a lot of fun. If you want to see it in action, hang around for some gameplay. If not, remember to like and subscribe, follow the channel, and there's going to be many, many more build guides and analysis of this class coming up this week. I appreciate you. Mr. E out. Bye. Well, I don't know if we'll have any allies joining me here, but we should be fine. I don't think the enemies will be able to kill us. Famous last words, right?
Do not rush them, Oscar. Mistakes might happen. I know.
Now, things I did mention about the build while we were in the Sanctinium, just so I could get into this gameplay. The shield has a special ability. You can see it charging up there on the side. That green bar, that's our flashbang ability, and that allows us to stagger and stun all enemies in front of us. Very, very powerful. And it charges up pretty dang fast as well. Castigator stance early and often. No reason not to, right? You can see our 45-second cooldown is almost over already. Oh, the Invincible. They're clubbing again. And this is Damnation difficulty. I don't quite have Auric Damnation unlocked just yet. I've been playing a little hard out today, but same thing applies, right? We are just walking forward.
You are nearly at the basement site. Then the fun begins.
Remember that Castigator stance, even though it doesn't say it, it does give you 100% of your toughness back on use, but it doesn't give it to you if you are standing in fire when it's activated, for some reason. I don't know if that's a glitch or what. But just be careful. Oh, we're losing members back there, like left and right. Not everybody's invincible like us. Don't worry, my dog will get me. There we go.
Death is earned. You yet fall short.
Oh, back for me. Nice. Oh, this guy's already in the arena. Let's get going then. This guy's just gonna straight die back there. Oh, he made it. Never mind, he didn't make it. I stand corrected. Seems like we got the team trying to speed run here. At least this guy's flanking me, helping me do my thing. Hang out here and get the res.
How fun!
Requesting retrieval! I will be an asset! I am one with the world!
The train is on the side of the way.
Splendid!
We have a shotgunner!
He's got it right there, I think.
Well, Block Order!
You go away while I do this, thank you. I'm just trying to do the objective, sir.
Divine Heretic!
Not a burster.
Find it soft.
I see nothing remarkable!
Alright. Activating. Loading.
Yes!
I am the hammer of the legs. Such as minor is what mine. I will just help. Right.
You appear to have fixed it. Nearly done. And
Excellent work! You can open the gate now!
back with us, handsome Oscar.
For now, all were called away.
Your boxing days are happy. Doctor, where are you?
The confessional. The last place Morrow will do for you. Grenade prize!
Destroyed!
Dead gunners on the run!
Shoot them! Now!
These written spills my blood. Seek Medicaid, next mate. Nothing else can save you.
down! Sector 1 Orange 1-4!
The Foxbuster is dead!
Nice.
It's time.
Scratch one razor. Trapper dead.
Denied.
You cannot escape. No bother coming in.
Hurry! The idea is to catch the heretic by surprise!
Hit that barrel instinctively.
Psycho might actually be
Castigator's stance makes us invincible to bursters. So that's up into health damage there, right? Castigator stance. Pretty good.
Medicaid station. I am the Lex's vengeance! One less pound, mutant! That one who wants you to die! Guilty! I am adamant! Practice! Nothing more!
These guardrails are the only secret ways in this part of Tertium. Not at all.
I don't think I've stopped holding down my W key in like 10 minutes.
No mercy for the blood order!
They simply can't cope. Now I did just press S there for like 1 frame, but you know what I mean.
Out of breath? Perhaps I could make some improvements for you.
Alright, Beast of the Miracle, time for our bolter to shine. What we want to do is just wait for him to do something stupid like that. And then capitalize.
This abomination will not fetch me! Right from behind! I am through this action! Keep the voice for a turn!
For me,
Drag them down!
Coming for us!
Die! Take this now!
Lockdown dead!
I find myself surprised at your skill, liability.
Target the mauler! Away with you!
Sure. Seek, destroy. Are you lost? Liability! Your prominence is not yet served. Bring them down! I am adamant! Ammo reserve spent.
I think the bottom left keystone is just really superior. The bottom left keystone has all the cooldown reduction and it makes the dog like crazy. You'll have to shoot less if you use a shotgun with it. It's designed for shotguns pretty clearly. Because if you hit multiple targets with the same shot, it counts as multiple stacks of being taken off. So you're pretty much just gonna have to shoot into like hordes.
And hide from him, Oscar.
It didn't look to be in a...
But if you do it right, it's pretty powerful.
That I can believe.
Kill the gunner! Web gunner dropped!
Out of my head! Abomination is no more!
No fear.
Here we are at last, and just in
No
time.
fear at all.
It is very simple. Capture the Essentializer and the merchandise. Then hit for safety. Good. The Heretics haven't damaged it.
Why would you say that? You know what will happen.
Let me at us!
He shall serve, oppressor!
Look at that skin. Only 700 Curios or something. I don't know. Looks pretty sick though. I do like this skill. Let's hold on. We gotta get the thumbnail. Thumbnail maybe? Yeah, we love thumbnail. I know that's the thumbnail for this build, but it's a good one for the future, maybe.
Not I. Perfect. Morning meditation is free.
What do I need a UI for? I know I'm not taking any advantage.
Person down! Flush them out! Savage!
What just blew that dog's head off? Me? And I really feel like this elevator thing at the end here is too long, and there's never enough like high tier enemies that are scary.
Judgment will find you! Hear it!
Oh, I can't tag when I don't have my UI on. That's funny. But I like it without the UI, so I'm gonna keep playing like this.
I'm sure nothing else will go wrong.
For us all if you were to stop talking, handsome Oscar.
The blast gate doesn't look ready to open, does it?
Now, all you need to do is leave and make delivery to Oscar.
They're dug in deep!
There'd be more enemies there. Not gonna lie.
It's a simple enough challenge for a cur!
Alright, simple as that, guys. So, hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more builds later in the week. Hopefully on higher difficulties. I'm going to start showcasing them on Havoc once I have some people around to play Havoc with. And we'll rock and roll.
Throwing grenade! Pound pacify!
78 damage taken. Not bad. GG.